Hello, welcome to the Roundhouse podcast with Paul Sulentrop of Wichita State University Strategic Communications. Thanks for your time. We appreciate you listening. Today's guest is Caleb Anderson. Caleb is a junior pitcher. He is from Springdale, Arkansas. He transferred to Wichita State from Johnson County Community College for the 2024 season. He made 28 appearances last spring, 2 of them starts for the Shockers, and Caleb earned a spot on the American Athletic Conference's all-academic team. Shockers are busy this week, so if you're interested in Wichita State baseball, this is a good week to get out to X Stadium, check out their progress. The fall series begins Wednesday. It runs daily through Sunday. All the games are 5 innings. The weekday games begin at 3 p.m. Saturday and Sunday games are at 11 a.m. Caleb, tell us about the fall series. What's the importance? How do you approach that? And what do you hope to get out of it?
Yeah, it's more than anything, it's fun. It's kind of capping off the end of the fall. Obviously, we had DBU last week, and then a few weeks prior I had Cali. And, the whole fall we've been competing against each other. And so I'd say the kind of black and yellow World Series, it's fun because you have players drafting players. The coaches are kind of hands out of it. And so a lot of it's just competing for a last time in the fall before it gets cold, you go inside. But I'd say for Shocker fans that want to learn more about the team and see kind of more personality come out, it's probably a good time to show that because there's not as much pressure of game-like situations. It's more just split it up and scrimmage and get really competitive for 5 days.
And we are recording this on Tuesday. Is the draft today?
The draft is in a few hours.
It's at
2:30, so
okay,
we'll see.
And then are there stakes? Usually there is some sort of bet. Winners get something, losers have to do something. What are the stakes for?
I think this year it's similar to what we did last year. I think we're going to Emerson Biggins Sunday night, I believe, or Monday, and the winners will get whatever they want. And I think the losers. I was on the losing team last year, unfortunately, and we got burgers, no ketchup, no nothing, just burgers and water. One burger actually, so. Really hoping to not repeat that because that was kind of rough. It still tasted good, but Emerson Biggins, you kind of want to be able to get what you can get, not just a burger. So
definitely. You mentioned earlier scrimmage at Cali College, a really, really strong junior college program here in the state. You scrimmaged Dallas Baptist on Saturday. What did you learn about the Shockers from those 2 outings?
Yeah, something I think that I saw was kind of the competitiveness. It seems like it's a tick up from last year. I know that was kind of a trademark for our team last year, was being able to compete and fight. But I really liked what I saw from Cali and DBU. It seemed like there's an edge of competitiveness, but it's also in some ways a little bit more professional. So it's not as much rah-rah energy, super energetic roller coaster. It's a little more, we're playing 9 innings or playing 16 innings. We're going to do our job for 16 innings, which is something that I've focused on personally for myself, trying to be a little more professional in how I handle everything and not just necessarily ride the highs and lows. And I think the team's done a good job with that this fall.
So this is the second season for Brian Green and his coaching staff. You were here last fall for their first go-around. How's it changed? What's different as they get back to work this season?
I think the attention to details is bigger this year. Last year, obviously, first year, you're trying to set the standard for what the program's going to be about. You're going to find your identity and all that. But it seems like this year, taking it a step forward, it's not necessarily more energy, but it's more, let's focus on the details. Let's be great each inning and find out how we can be better each day so that you look up in a month or two's progress and you're a lot better than you were when you started.
So if a fan is coming out this week to watch the scrimmages, give us a few names. Who has impressed you so far? Who's made a good impression? Who should they be paying attention to?
I think obviously first Mauricio Millan, the captain, our team captain. He has obviously done a great job for the last 3 or 4 years he's been here. But backing him up, Cole Dillon, who came in from Arizona, I believe. He's done a great job with the pitching staff. Offensively, he's a really tough at bat. I don't think he's struck out much this fall. So he's going to put the ball in play. He's going to fight, but he's really just kind of a gamer, and he handles the staff really, really well. So I think for offensively, I think he's done a great job. Obviously, Jordan Black as well, third baseman from Johnson County that I played with 2 years ago. He's going to make some really, really good plays at third, and the arm strength is going to show off there. So 2 hitting guys, I'd say them, and then pitching. Grant Adler, Shocker fans know him. He's the same guy he was when he was here a few years ago. He's just going to slice and dice you. Brady's taken a step up this year, and even Jeremiah Arnett and Colton Verco. Verco is probably a guy that fans aren't super familiar with. He's been here for 2 or 3 years, but he's going to come in and fill it up. And so I'd say kind of all those guys have taken a step up from last year that is really encouraging.
Let me run back through some of these names so that fans are on the same page. Cole Dillon, a catcher. He is a transfer from Arizona. His dad is assistant hitting coach for the Royals, so that's interesting. Tidbit about Cole, and then you mentioned Colton Verco. He is a redshirt junior, right-handed pitcher. You mentioned Jordan Black, transfer, playing third base. Grant Adler pitched for the Shockers in 2023. Had a really good season. Sunday starter. He was at the University of Kansas last spring, and now is back with the Shockers. So that gives you some. Oh, Brady Hamilton. He was the other sophomore starter. I've heard really good things about him. He's a guy that I keep hearing he will be in the weekend rotation. Yeah, you mentioned Mauricio Millan and Cole Dillon. Catchers are so important. I love talking to them. They always seem to have a really good grasp of the game, and they've got to be. They've got to play their position. They've got to get other people organized. They've got to work with the pitchers. What makes Mauricio so good at handling pitchers and keeping guys focused and calm out on the mound?
Yeah, I think obviously as a former catcher myself, I think one of the things he does really well is he communicates really well with the pitchers. And even this year he's taken a step up of. He's not just communicating kind of with Clags. He's working. It's kind of a three-way street. So, pitchers are working with Claggett, but then also Mo's working with him, and it's just a three-way kind of trust system of whatever Clag sees, what I see on the mound from swings. I know Mo's looking at it at the same time. So, I'd say he's definitely taken a step up this year as far as just the management side of it. I think at some point when he finishes his career, he'll end up in the dugout managing a baseball team because he's pretty good at it, but. It's things like reading swings, reading foul balls, knowing the hitters, him as a hitter, knowing what guys are going to be looking for against our arsenals that has really set him apart.
You mentioned you played catcher in high school. How has that helped you as a pitcher?
Yeah, I think it's done more than I know. Obviously, only starting pitching halfway through my senior year of high school and kind of focusing on it when I got to college. I'd say it really helped me know kind of more on the mound. So I'm not just a thrower on the mound. I like to really read swings, kind of like one of my idols, Greg Maddux, used to do, kind of reading what the hitter wants to do, and I can tell, if a hitter fouls a certain pitch off, the way he fouls it off, I know what he's looking for. So if he's kind of lunging over the plate, whatever, I know I can bust in, whatever. So I'd say that was the biggest thing, is it just kind of slows me down a little bit on the mound because I'm thinking more of the game than I am just pitching, which keeps me pretty relaxed on the mound.
Take us through last spring for you. You were a busy guy, one of the most used pitchers that the Shockers had. What did you learn about Division I baseball, and what adjustments are you making?
Yeah, it's the biggest thing, and it also got exploited this summer up in the Cape, was, if you miss spots, it's going to get hit. You're going to give up some damage. So moving forward to this year, it's more of not just, throwing strikes and avoiding walks, avoiding the big innings. It's more of I'm going to throw my best stuff where I need to throw it and execute location, but also being consistent. Obviously, a lot of pitchers, especially ones that get used a lot, it can get tough to repeat your stuff when you throw 28 times. And so something I've tried to do more this year and transform into is being a lot more repeatable on the mound, moving a lot better, and obviously getting in better shape. And so all that culminates to, a little bit more velo, a little more movement, a little bit more time in the zone. So I'd say that was probably the biggest thing.
Pitching in the Cape Cod League is always a good experience. Take us through your summer there.
It was amazing. It was everything I had dreamed it was going to be since I was a kid. And you get up there and play with guys that are All-Americans, freshman All-Americans, whatever, and they're just dudes in the locker room wearing the same jerseys as you. So that was kind of the weird thing, was getting up there and seeing guys that are going to be signing for multiple $1 million this year, and they're just like me, just like everybody else, working out the same and doing all that. And so I'd say the biggest thing was being able to get up there and work with other pitchers and, talk grips, talk pitches, and just kind of pick everybody's brain up there, and also have my brain picked a little bit. Helped learn a lot, helped develop a lot more into more of a professional mindset of going to work each day and figuring out ways to be better.
Who was the toughest hitter you faced in the Cape?
Oh, man. Toughest hitter... There's so many I kind of get messed up. I'd say Nolan Schubert was pretty good from Oklahoma State. And then honestly, thankfully I didn't have to face him because he was on our team, but Ethan Petrie from South Carolina, he put on absolute shows every time during BP, every game, and so he was really good. It was weird because a lot of the guys, you think like Drew Burris or these guys, you hear the names throughout the spring, and then you get up there and really, it's really not much different. You're just pitching, and so some of the names even get lost. You kind of just think about executing, number 17 for Wareham or whatever. So it's kind of hard to remember, but you kind of look back and there's a lot of really good players that have played up there. I know, the guy that just won the MVP for the NLCS, Tommy Edman, was on the Whitey Red Sox a few summers ago. So kind of seeing the history of that was really cool.
Yeah, Shockers have obviously sent a lot of people up to the Cape throughout the years, and they generally come back, and it seems like there's a boost of confidence. They learn a lot, and it's usually a really good experience. What is your intro song, and why did you choose that one?
Okay, so my walk-up song this year is The Stroke by Billy Squier, and I was kind of in between two. I was between that one and Too Late for Love by Def Leppard, and so those were two, I don't want to say bands, but that kind of genre of older rock music that my parents listened to when they're kind of my age. I don't know, it doesn't hype me up too much, but it keeps me kind of at a mellow tone, but it still fires me up a little bit. And I liked, with The Stroke, it's something that fans can get into and stand up and clap. I kind of had a similar song last year to it that I want the fans to be able to engage with it a little bit, the dugout, get them going a little bit, rather than something that just fires me up. I want Eck to be rocking too when I come in, so that was probably the main reason to get it. But yeah, I just like the song.
Okay, old school.
Oh yeah.
The sport of baseball. When did you fall in love? When did it become your thing?
I've been playing it my entire life, as long as I can remember. I want to say I maybe started around 3. Used to, playing all the time with my dad. I don't know, he was always my coach growing up, and so I've loved it for as long as I've been playing it. And there's definitely times. Last year, I think everybody hit this spot where it does feel like a job a little bit. It gets a little tiring, but I think having people, a support staff, and people in your corner that can really remind you that it's just a game that you're getting to play. I'm 20 years old, turned 21. I'm still playing the game that I was playing when I was 5. Like thinking of it in that way. I'm thinking of, man, if 5-year-old Caleb was looking up right now and seeing where we were at, he'd be so happy to see we're playing college baseball. Kind of reminding yourself that keeps it fresh, keeps you young.
Yeah, when you need that boost, when you need that reminder, who do you turn to? Is there a teammate? Is it your parents? Who can get you going back in the right direction?
Yeah, I'd say a lot of it's my family. I have a younger brother. He's a senior, Will, who, anytime I have tough times, I'll call them. I have good roommates here, Colton Verco and Jeremiah Arnett, that it's like every time you go home, it's kind of the understanding of, you may talk about baseball, but it's something that once I take off the jersey and leave it in the dirty laundry bin, at the field, then it's done for the day, and I'm not defined by baseball. Just a guy that plays baseball. It's just something I do. So.
Yeah, and I run across that a lot. People will come to a college, come to Wichita State, and they will have to come to that realization that I'm not defined by my sport. Mm-hmm. Take us through your path. How did you get to that point where you were able to have that, what seems to be like a healthy mindset about your sport? Yeah,
I'd say a lot of it comes from my relationship with Christ. I kind of, going into a little bit of the backstory, in high school, obviously caught and also played football, which I love football equally as much. I'm watching football all the time, but it really started to happen and got taken to another level when I didn't get into Vanderbilt for punting and playing football my senior year. And so I think it was March 1st, I believe, is when I got that call that wasn't going to happen. And then all of a sudden it felt like everything was closing in, and what I had not really realized was that I was kind of defining myself by what I was doing on the field. And although I had a relationship with Christ, it definitely was one that somewhat took a backseat in baseball and other sports. And so kind of after that and going through some of the trials and kind of hitting rock bottom, I realized, there's a rock at the bottom that I'm standing on, which is Jesus Christ. And I think it makes life that much easier when you know that baseball is just a game. Every day I'm coming out here and doing my best, but at the same time, I'm defined by what who Christ says I am, which is a child of God. So that's kind of where I find my foundation.
So you were an accomplished punter in high school at Shiloh Christian, which is a really strong program in Arkansas. You can find a lot of Caleb Anderson punting highlights on the internet. You were headed to Vanderbilt at one time. Why switch from football to baseball?
I honestly kind of got forced into it, which was, I think, God's way of getting me back on track of playing baseball and getting eventually to Wichita State. I thought I was going to do that and was a pretty good student in high school. And for some reason, the admissions prospects didn't let me get in. The coaching staff was frustrated about it, but my family and I took that as an opportunity. It's a closed door that needed to happen. And experiencing that, and obviously I still love the staff and they're ranked and all this stuff, so it's super cool to see that. But I think that closing of a door opened up a new one for me to obviously start pitching a week later, and then that got me into where we're at today.
So it's Monday in the locker room and everybody's talking about the Chiefs or the Cowboys, football. Do you ever break in and say, boy, did you notice how that punter flipped field position? Or do you guys know how hard it is to put the backspin on the punt so you can down it at the 4-yard line? Do you ever slip a little punting talk into their conversations?
It's hard not to. It's hard when that's been your kind of your thing forever. It's hard not to when it's fourth down, get your phone out and get the hang time of the punts or all that stuff. I try not to seem like a nerd, but I mean, one guy I watch a ton is Pat McAfee on, his show on ESPN, and
right.
Punters and that whole group we're definitely an interesting bunch, but it's hard to not notice because flipping the field's a big deal. And so, especially with the Chiefs and having Matt Araiza this year, I could definitely get into it and I could talk about punting and special teams, the importance forever, but I mean, you still got Patrick Mahomes, so like punters aren't winning games. They can lose them, but it's definitely a big spot, and guys like to give me a lot of crap on it for whenever we're watching football. Oh, guys, check out this punt, whatever. That's just part of it. I just have to kind of
just don't appreciate the importance of
special
teams.
No.
Yeah. How about punting is winning? Do you ever say that?
No, I don't say punting is winning. No.
That's another good punting. Okay, let's do a little baseball scenario. There's 2 runners in scoring position. There's 1 out. A little tense on the mound. What techniques do you use to maintain composure, repeat your delivery, trust your defense, all that baseball stuff? What are you thinking?
Yeah, so Clagg's actually, Coach Claggett, he instills in us pretty early that we need to find a focal point, whether it's at Eck or wherever we're playing. And so mine, at least at home, it's kind of translated to all the other places we play. Anytime I feel rushed on the mound or my breathing's starting to quicken up on me, I just find the American flag and look at it. Obviously at Eck, it's huge, which
hard
is awesome.
Miss, yes.
I love it. And that kind of reminds me, it kind of puts everything back into perspective of, I actually have a friend who I graduated high school with who's a Navy SEAL right now. And so every time I see the flag, I kind of think of him. And so it kind of relaxes me of like, man, if I think I'm going through it tough right now, like runners on second and third, man, I need to make a big pitch. It's like, I see the flag. I remember that, there's people that are dying overseas for my freedom. And it's something that's really important to me, obviously being closely tied to that. So I think it sets everything back into perspective. I'm just playing a game. I'm just going to breathe and trust my training and see what God's going to do.
Okay, different scenario. You're up 5-0. You're in the 5th. You're cruising. Everything's really working. How do you maintain focus? How do you not slip just a little bit and let things get going in the bad direction?
Yeah, I'd say for me, it's treating every game like it's 0-0 and treating it like it is the World Series. I mean, it may sound a little corny, but I think if you're going out with a big lead, the easiest way to pitch with a lead is pretend you don't have one. You still got to be fine-tuning your mechanics. You still got to be attacking. And I'd say when I'm at my best, I'm on the mound thinking I'm the best pitcher in the country. And even though I'm not 6'5", 235 pounds, pure muscle, whatever, convincing myself that the hitters have to come up each inning and try to face me and face my best stuff keeps me in a good headspace of I'm just going to attack and make them look dumb.
Shockers have a lot of uniform combinations. You can go gray, white, pinstripes, all kinds. What's your favorite?
It's tough. It's tough to go against the traditional whites. Got the last name on the back. So seeing Anderson up there is pretty cool. But obviously, I feel like I'd be wrong if I didn't say the All Blacks after what we did in them last year, winning 12 of 13 games down the stretch in All Blacks. But it's pretty cool. We got some good stuff. I feel like each kind of trip we take, there's a favorite. So whether it's Pens one weekend or I really like the gray uniforms, whatever, just kind of being able to mix and match and have a really iconic look is pretty cool.
Who was your favorite Major League Baseball team?
The Atlanta Braves. I was born in Atlanta. That's my parents' team. Obviously, they've been pretty good recently, so it's not necessarily a hard fandom. But, yeah, they're my favorite team. Spencer Strider, favorite pitcher, favorite professional athlete. He was hurt this past year. We actually named we have a golden doodle at my house. We named him Strider. His name was Spencer, and we changed it. So that should tell you kind of how big of fans we are of the Braves. But, It's Atlanta Braves.
So being a college athlete means a lot of road trips. You're on a bus, you're on a plane. How do you survive those long rides? What's the item you need? A neck pillow, snacks, earbuds? How do you get through?
Honestly, for me, there's a few essentials. One is an Arnold Palmer, tea and lemonade. I got to have that, and that was a big thing for me last year. Just kind of reminds me of home a little bit. Got to have my earbuds because I can't listen to Mafia and all the stuff on the bus and all the games guys are playing. Can't do that. Got to be able to listen to music. And then my Bible. It's something that I got from my roommate Jeremiah. Just you get bored and open it up and read and learn something new.
Okay. Caleb Anderson, junior pitcher for Wichita State. The Shockers have a busy week. Fall series starts Wednesday, runs daily through Sunday with a bunch of 5-inning games. Weekday games begin at 3 p.m. Saturday and Sunday they will start at 11 a.m. Caleb, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Rick Muma, president of Wichita State University. Check out the latest episode of the Forward Together podcast. Each episode, I sit down with different guests from Shocker Nation to celebrate the vision and mission of Wichita State University. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Thank you for listening to the Roundhouse podcast, courtesy of Wichita State University Strategic Communications. We encourage you to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. You can find more Roundhouse content at GoShockers.com.
It's over! It is over! Ladies and gentlemen, say it slowly and savor it. Wichita State is going to the Final Four for the first time in 48 years.
Unbelievable. What a scene, folks. The Shocker fans are just going crazy in the stands.
Just maybe the greatest win in the history of Wichita State basketball.